Hey guys, I just wanted to make this video because I want to talk about a couple of things. First of all, the main point I think I emphasized in the thumbnail is psychological warfare using femboys. And I think what a lot of people, like Llama Rider 37 and Rad, I don't know how to pronounce that. So I think I got it right, I don't fucking know. Don't get wrong about psychological warfare with femboys is the fact it's not a concept. It's a real thing that they've already done. It's not like it's just the concept of psychological warfare with femboys is not a new thing, and it works. We've already lost because you see, it's I think this might not. Holy fuck, why is the lawnmower so loud outside? Okay. This might not seem like a very notable thing involving equality, but I think it's important that we kind of stop sticking to gendered clothing. I don't like using the terms masculine and feminine clothing because I feel like clothing isn't a gender thing, you know? It's just clothing. Who gives a fuck? And also, if we make an effort to do that, to bring equality and to allow people to just dress how they want and get rid of preconceived notions of masculinity and femininity within clothing, I think that could help lead us into stronger changes for equality's sake. Which is kind of my thought process. And I think what happened with the modern femboy movement is the CIA is foreign. The FBI enlisted the help of people that display both young men who displayed both hypersexual and sociopathic traits, and then enlisted them to become internet cross-dressers. So these cross-dressers would then set a precedent for cross-dressers on the internet to be hypersexual, hyperfeminine, and then so future cross-dressers on the internet become like that too. Because you see, I think the reason why they did this was because they saw that women wearing more masculine clothing was becoming normalized, and so logically the next step would be normalizing men wearing feminine clothing, traditionally feminine clothing. So what they did was they used these femboy agents as a psyop to further enhance the ties between the clothing and the femininity to prevent this from happening, so that which also means that the already hyper-masculine men who care about nothing but appearing masculine their ideas would be reinforced, so more people would follow them. And along with that, the idea of a guy wearing traditionally feminine clothing would become weirder, more sexualized, more associated with there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying it's traditionally associated with people who stay on the internet because they are not traditionally accepted in regular society. Like, you're probably gonna be able to find a girl wearing traditionally masculine clothing in the wild outside off the internet, but you are probably not going to find a man wearing a traditionally feminine outfit outside of the internet. It's just the chance of it happening is basically so small that it might as well be zero. And it's even lower now because of that association it now has with more femininity, more being weird. So people who were not that weird but thinking about getting into cross-dressing would see that and be discouraged, or think they have to be weirder to be a cross-dresser, which is not the case. And I think this also goes along with bedbugs. Hear me out here, but bedbugs have been around for like thousands of years. Yeah, I know that, but notice how they got ever more common in the 90s. Yeah, they more common than ever before in the 90s. And I have a theory for why. I believe that bedbugs are a weapon, yet another weapon of the CIA. Wait, fuck, not the CIA. FBI. I always fuck up the two. FBI is foreign affairs. CIA. CIA is foreign affairs. FBI is domestic affairs. Yeah, that's true. So the FBI uses these bedbugs for a variety of purposes. Some of them have attached micro cameras, so when you have a giant bedbug infestation, there's a ton of them in there, and they can see you, they can hear you. So they do that with people of interest. And also, they might be using these bedbugs to bite you and inject microchips into your blood and track you and other things like that. So, and I think this ties into femboys, because the femboys manipulate you. And also, another thing I've noticed with femboys online is the online stereotype of a femboy, this fetishized femboy, is an extreme lack of hygiene. I can't tell if that's just because they're actually unhygienic or because I care way too much about it. I don't want to say it's because of OCD, but I think it's because of OCD. I'm like 90% sure it's because of OCD. So, that's besides the point. I think that with being unhygienic, we could people who are affected with this, they can, so the femboys are unhygienic. So if there's any problems, it appears that the femboy is the cause of this. So they blame the femboy, not the government. And the femboy, and being unhygienic would make sense why. And they bring in the bedbugs with them. If a femboy moves in, they're gonna bring bedbugs with them, and so the bedbugs can inject microchips in you, spy on you, whatever. Because I think it's quite odd how something so common and so effective, so commonly bites people and is so effective at doing so. Somehow no pathogen or bacterial, no pathogenic infection, a major deadly pathogenic infection, has used bedbugs as a host. Because, like, mosquitoes have, it happens with mosquitoes, it happens with ticks, it happens with fleas, it happens with, well, I'm trying to remember. With other mice, it happens, I think. But with bedbugs, it just doesn't. There's no major deadly pathogens that come with bedbugs, which I think is really strange. Because they've done it for like every other bug like it, so why not bedbugs? And that's why I think part of their spread is engineered. And this ties in with the deep state, because both of these are tools the deep state utilizes to spy on us and and the thing that femboys and bedbugs have in common is that it's extremely annoying to get rid of both of them. They're not, neither of them are dangerous, but they're both annoying to be around. Annoying to be around, annoying to have in your house, and annoying to get rid of. So that's another connection I think they have. And I think also the association with gross bedbugs with femboys would further tie that the only example most people have of male cross-dressing is that of femboys. So if they're seen as gross, unhygienic, harboring things like bedbugs, and maybe even sexually transmitted diseases like chlamydia or AIDS. There's probably already an association with AIDS because they're gay, so then that will further discourage people who don't want to be like that from cross-dressing, and further discouraging the normalization of males wearing traditionally feminine clothing, which, again, there's not really a problem with that. The only problem most people have with it is based off their preconceived notions of gender identity and how that ties into clothing. Bread bridge is not political, it is simply bread. Okay, but what about the I don't like the socio-economic implications of the bread bridge, because you clearly have an excess of bread, given how you have enough bread to make a bridge out of it, when you could have been giving that bread to people in need who are starving and need the bread to live, and instead it's not even structurally sound. A bridge made of bread is going to fall under no load, so there's no reason to make a bridge out of bread other than to flex how much bread you have. I do not like the socioeconomic implications of using your excess to prove why you are superior rather than to lift others up along with you. That is a capitalist ideal, and it's rooted in the need to prove that you are better just because you have more of something, even though that doesn't intrinsically make you better. It all depends on who you are as a person that makes you better. I think that's very simple. Yeah, I think, back on the topic of femboys, I think we kind of all fell for it by sexualizing, fetishizing femboys, because, see, everyone thinks of femboys differently from how they think about tomboys, because you might think they're in the same boat, but really they're not. They're both thought of differently because, again, in terms of society as a whole, tomboys are more socially acceptable. And being a tomboy is more socially acceptable. In some people it's expected, while being a femboy is basically always considered a deviation from the norm. So when your community is basically defined by being completely isolated from normal society, then you can be as weird as you want. So even with the people that aren't actively working on the PSYOP, they're still encouraged to be weirder, and that fuels the problem. You know? I feel like I'm just... okay, I don't know. I just feel like I'm talking out my ass here. So, on that note, I think the deep state might be struggling at the moment, because with the upcoming restrictions of free speech that I think are going to happen, free speech is basically always a sign the regime is afraid of its own people. Restriction of freedom is a sign of fear. It's not a sign of power, it's a sign of fear. They are afraid of you. And when they restrict your freedom, it's not because they want to show superiority, it's because they're afraid of you. They're afraid of what you'll do with your freedoms, so they take them away before they, out of paranoia, before they can you can do anything. And that's why you must use your freedoms to the fullest extent. You mustn't go along with it. Also, I think I'm getting hella sidetracked here. Another problem with Femboys indoctrinating and it working is it has completely killed modern liberalism. Modern liberalism is a shell of its former self because it's fuck-ass identity politics that we don't care about. Nobody gives a shit about the identity politics. We care about making sure people don't die. And I think the hardest, and liberals will say that, but honestly, I think the hardest thing for a liberal to come to terms with is some people are gonna have to die no matter what. So some people are gonna have to die no matter what. If you submit to making sure nobody dies, no matter no matter how bad they are, then that's just gonna lead to you not doing anything, and then innocent people who don't deserve. Then the people that if you don't do any, if you say that no one should have to die no matter what they do, and no matter how bad the things they've done are, then you basically just submit to doing nothing, which means if you do nothing, the people that die are the ones that deserve the least, because the people who deserve the most are the ones killing them. So at a certain point, you gotta just accept that some amount of death is gonna have to happen. It's just a small sacrifice, because we have to take down the powerful minority to make way for a powerful majority, which we don't have right now. And that's why, no matter how much they try to act like no matter how much modern liberals try to act like they're socialists, they're really not. They're just kind of LARP socialism. I don't like saying LARPing because it feels stupid, but it is LARP socialism in essence. The topic of LARPing is also pretty important because it relates back to Femboys, because a lot of the time the modern femboy movement is kind of just like a crude hybrid of cross-dressing, internet transgenderism, and neurodivergence, or more accurately, LARP neurodivergence, because every single it's always LARP neurodivergence. I hate LARP neurodivergence so fucking much. If you don't know what LARP neurodivergent is, it's basically, imagine a person on the internet who basically just makes being autistic or having ADHD or having OCD their whole personality, and that's it. That's basically, in essence, LARP neurodivergence. It is a scum on the earth, because it means people like me don't get the help they need, and the loud minority, LARP neurodivergent motherfuckers are the loud minority. So when people think of when non-neurodivergent people think of neurodivergence, they think of LARP neurodivergence and not actual neurodivergence. So they look at us, the real neurodivergents, with the same scorn that they look at LARP neurodivergence. And LARP neurodivergence is very much in line with cross-dressing and also modern transgenderism movement. I support transgender people. I always have, I always will. But please get an actual fucking personality, at least. I say this to everyone. Please try to get if you don't have a personality, please try to get one. Don't try and LARP something you don't have. Just get a fucking personality. I don't think it's that hard, but if it is, I will try and make a video eventually trying to tell you how to get personality. Because, I don't know, I think it's just, some people might struggle, but personally, I've never struggled with it because, you know, just listen to me talk. You gotta be odd to be number one. You gotta be odd to be number one. So, I have no trouble with that. It's mostly just people around me struggle with having. Sometimes they struggle with having a major personality, other that isn't just LARPing off what someone else does. So that's the one good thing about my biological dad is he doesn't try to pretend. The only thing he tries to pretend like he is when he isn't is a dad. That's it. He's honest about basically everything, except for the fact that he's a real fucking dad, not just a guy who helped create me. That's it. So, I feel like I'm getting, again, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm getting sidetracked. The modern femboy movement is about indoctrination, mainly. And the people saying, and if you say that the government should utilize femboys for indoctrination because it would be extremely effective, more effective than any other forms of PSYOP, are people who have already fallen for it. They're already doing that. You've already fallen for it. And personally, I don't know about you, but I don't like the government PSYOPing people. They've done that enough. We've had enough government psyops in our time. We need to psyop the government back. But unfortunately, the government's smart. Well, try to make it look like it's smart. But there are some people in the government that are genuinely very smart and very cruel. So we have to psyop them back somehow. I don't know how. I don't know when. I don't know where. I don't know who's doing it. But we have to do it somehow. We gotta fight the deep state. You know about the deep state. QAnon is one of those conspiracy theories that's really funny to me because they basically got like everything correct, except they said that Trump was the one to fight the deep state, even though in reality he's the one who is spearheading the deep state. Because everyone knows the deep state is the clutches of the government that Epstein had the most control over, because there's a reason he got away with all of that for so long. He has the government and motherfuckers like Netanyahu and everyone in the in businesses involving the economy as well. That's why BlackRock. That's why BlackRock is this. He helped BlackRock become the insane powerhouse that it is, to become basically the most powerful company in the world. Basically, every single purchase you make, in some way, gives money to BlackRock. So you can't just boycott. You can't boycott BlackRock or Vanguard or other businesses like that. They're always gonna get money, no matter. Basically, everything you. Even the credit card companies give a little bit of shares. Give a little. Even from the credit card companies themselves, BlackRock, Vanguard, those companies get a little bit of shares from them, and they get a little bit of shares from each other. There's no way to boycott them. So the only way, there's no way to stop them other than fighting them head on. How do we do that? I'm not entirely sure, but I think as a society, we will hopefully be able to figure it out. I say hopefully strongly because the thing that characterizes modern liberalism and a lot of political ideologies nowadays is just nihilism. Thinking that the government's already won, the Nazis have already won, the Zionists have already won, but no, they haven't. they will win if you give up now and stop fighting. But if you don't let them win. Don't stop fighting, because they want you to think that they've already won, because it means they don't have to put any more effort into fighting. Make them, they are not afraid. If nihilism becomes the norm, then they won't be afraid. You must, which is why I think it's a good sign that they're restricting freedoms, because it means we're making them, they're gonna be afraid. We must make them afraid. That's the only way things are gonna change. The only way shit's gonna change is if we make the Nazis afraid again. It's been too long. They need to know fear once more. If any part of this video sticks with you, let it be that.